Hi, welcome to live stream yoga with Louise. Tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today's practice is all about restitution for our lingering holiday sins. We're going to be playing circuit style, high and low on the mat. As always, play where you're comfortable, modify when you need to, rest when you need to. You ready? Let's hit the mat. We're going to begin today's practice finding a stand at the top end of the mat. We're going to alternate between facing the top end and the back end of the mat. And to do that, we're going to take a goddess or a plie step out and then find our way to the back, and we're going to alternate. One front, one back. We're going to end at the top end of the mat where we began, and we're going to start to play with a rapid fire leg lift. So we're going to do knee up and down. At the same time, we're going to play with the arms. And we're going to do opposite hand to leg, working them in a driving fashion. Change sides. Getting the heart rate just elevated slightly. Last one. We're going to come into a roll down pattern. Big breath in. On an exhale, nod your chin to your chest. Hollow out your belly, round out your back. Roll down and back up. We're going to do one more, and we'll use the second one to walk out into a plank line, or you can modify and you can come to a 4-point kneel if you prefer. We're going to do knee to elbow, and we're working same side of the body in an alternating fashion from your plank or your 4-point kneel, keeping your body line parallel to the floor. Last one. Find your way to a tall kneeling frame, stacking shoulders, hips, and knees, hands behind the head. We're going to do 5 drop downs on one side, making one elbow heavy to the floor. 5 on the second side. Then we're going to squeeze the 2 elbows towards the midline and back 5 times. Find your way back to a stand at the top end of the mat, rolling it up and down. Use your next roll down to walk back into a plank. This time we're going to do knee to opposite elbow. Find your way to a tall kneel, tucking your hands behind your head. 5 drop downs on one side. Come back to the middle, 5 squeezes towards the midline. 5 drop downs on the second side. 5 squeezes towards the midline. Find your way back to a standing frame at the top end of the mat, rolling it up and rolling it down. Use your next roll down to walk out into your last plank, either staying with knee to elbow 1 or knee to elbow 2, or using your knee to elbow 2 to do a kick through, side to side. Then find your way onto the side of the body. We're going to assume a low to the mat position. Bottom leg is bent, top leg is extended, and we're going to play with the leg pull to the front. Make sure you're not kicking or flicking, but rather pulling. Then let's start to pull towards the sky for the next roughly 10 repeats. Then marry the two together. One pull to the front, one to the sky, so it almost seems like you're tracing an L pattern with the leg. Last one. From here, we're going to roll onto the back, center aligning ourselves on the mat. We're going to begin in a bridge-like setup. You're going to take a big breath in. On an exhale, you're going to give me a tilt and imprint. You're going to bleed up into a small chest lift, and you're going to hold softly onto the back of your thighs. Then add a double leg lift and try to scoop up a little bit higher so that more of your mid-back is off the mat. Stay here or add to it by finding your way into a scissoring action through the legs, trying to keep that nice deep U hold into the mat. Then bend your knees, ground your feet. We're coming into a working bridge, and we're going to marry it with a clam line. So you're going to begin with your feet and your knees in parallel. Instead of articulating, you're going to thrust up in one solid motion, and then you're going to sort of roll on the feet to V the knees out and back in. And you're going to shoot for roughly 10 repeats. Then start to roll like a ball. Today, we're going to ground the feet every time we land. Stay here or add to your movement by coming into a little table hold before you find your next roll. Pressing off your hands and your feet and thinking belly to sky. Shoot for roughly 5. And then after the fifth one, you're going to come into a modified boat hold, and we're going to bring the legs up to table. We're going to hold with one hand behind one thigh, fingers to the floor, and we're going to single leg stretch on the other side. Then change sides. Then sweep the legs to find your way onto the second side of the body, assuming a low to the mat position. We're going to find that leg pull. Then a few towards the sky. Then marry the two together and start to fashion an L-like trace with your leg. After your last one, you're going to roll onto your back. You're going to center align yourself on the mat. Preparing for your U-hold. You're going to take a big breath in. You're going to find your small chest lift, holding onto the back of your thighs. So at first, just your shoulder blades peeled up off the mat. Then as we draw the legs to 90, we try to scoop up a little bit higher so that there's a fair portion of your mid-back off the mat. Just stay here holding the frame, or add to that with a little scissor kick, trying to hug your incoming leg towards your face. Then find your way into a bridge setup for our bridge climb. You're going to thrust up softly, almost rolling on the edges of your feet to lead the knees out, and then bringing them back to parallel and bleeding your way down. Find your way into your roll, staying with just the roll, or adding a little table press up at the end of your roll and shooting for roughly 5 repeats. Then finding your way into a boat hold, holding onto the back of one thigh, fingers to floor. We're going to single leg stretch. Change sides. Then one rock to come to a standing frame at the top end of your mat, rolling it up. Let's run through that circuit again. So you're starting in a tall mountain stand, facing the top end of your mat. You're going to think deep plie squat, and then take a step to the back end of your mat. And you're going to keep alternating between the front and the back end of your mat. Last one, we're going to end back where we began, at the top end of the mat for our driving knee lift. Change sides. Take it into a roll down pattern. Use your second roll down to find your way into a plank, stepping or hopping back for your knee to elbow on the same side. Find your way to a tall kneel from here. Tuck your hands loosely behind your head and find an elbow drop on one side. Change sides. Then elbow squeezes towards the midline. Find your way from here back to the top end of the mat to roll it up and down. Use your next roll down to find your way back into your plank line, stepping or hopping back. And we're going to do knee to opposite elbow this time. Find your way from here back into your tall kneel with your hands tucked behind your head, elbow drop on one side. Then back to the middle for elbow squeezes. Elbow drops on the second side. Elbow squeezes towards the midline. Find your way back to the top end of the mat, rolling it up and down. Use your next roll down to find your last plank, stepping or hopping back. And this time we're going to do either knee to elbow on the same side, knee to opposite elbow, or knee to opposite elbow and a kick through. After your last one, make your way onto the side of the body, assuming a low to the mat position. Bend your bottom leg, extend the top, and find your leg pull. First one parallel to the floor. Then a few towards the sky. Then L trace. Then onto your back. Remember to center align yourself for our U hold. We'll start with a small tilt and imprint, just enough to bleed up into a small chest lift, reaching for the back of your thighs, pausing. Then making the U a little bit more acute by drawing the legs up to 90 and peeling more of your back off the mat. Hold, hold, hold. Stay or play, adding a scissor. Then find your way into your bridge, and at the height of your bridge, think of climbing out. Start to find your way into rolling like a ball, maybe adding a little table press up, or maybe you prefer to stay with just the rolling action. After your last table, you're going to find your way into a boat line, holding onto the back of one thigh, fingers to floor on the other one, as you play with your single leg stretch. Then change sides. Sweep the legs around to find your way onto the second side of the body. Bend the bottom leg, extend the top, and start to find your leg pull to the front. Then begin to pull towards the sky. Marry the two patterns together. Then roll onto your back, center align yourself on the mat, and prepare for your U-hold. Find your tilt and imprint, lead up into your small chest lift, cupping the back of your thighs. Then make the U a little bit deeper by drawing the legs up to 90 and peeling more of your back line off the mat. Stay or add a scissor kick. Then find your way into your bridge line. Thrust softly up, rolling out onto the feet as you open the knees, and then bleed back down. So you're thinking clam like open and close through the legs. Then start to find your roll, maybe adding a table. After your last table, you're going to find your way into a boat line, holding onto the back of one thigh as you add a single leg stretch on the opposite side. Then change sides. Then one big roll and press up. So find your way to a roll-up pattern at the top end of the mat to repeat your sequence one last time. Finding your wide plie step out and then alternating between ending at the top and ending at the back end of your mat. Let's do one more set and we'll end at the top end of the mat where we began and we'll find that running man drive. Switch sides. Start to find your roll down pattern. Use your second roll down to step or hop back into a plank. Knee to elbow on the same side, alternating. Tall kneel. Tuck your hands behind your head. Find an elbow drop on one side. Then drop on the second side. Come back to the middle and elbow squeezes towards the midline and away. Step your way back to the top end of the mat to roll it up and down. Use your next roll down to find your way into your plank. Knee to opposite elbow this time. Find your way from here back into a tall kneel, tucking your hands loosely behind your head to elbow drop on one side. Then pause in the middle to squeeze your elbows towards the midline and back. Then elbow drop on the second side. Pause along the center to squeeze the elbows together and away. Find your way into a roll-up pattern and start to play 2 roll downs. Use your second roll down to find your way into your last plank. And we're going to do either knee to elbow on the same side, or knee to opposite elbow, or use the knee to opposite elbow action to kick through. From here, we're going to find our way onto the side of the body, assuming a low to the mat position, bottom leg bent, top leg extended for your pull to the front. Then a few pulls towards the sky. Then marry the 2 patterns together. Last one, from here you're going to roll onto your back, you're going to center align yourself on the mat, and you're going to prep for your U-hold. Make your first one small. Then draw the legs to 90 and peel up a little bit higher. Stay or add a scissoring kick. Find your way from here into your bridge with your clam at the top. Then start to roll, maybe adding a table press up. Find your way from here into a supported boat hold, holding onto one leg and then stretching with the other. And since this is our last one, we'll shoot for 10 repeats instead of 5. Once you've done roughly 10 on one side, change sides. Then sweep the legs around to find your way onto the second side of the body, bending on the bottom, extending on the top. When you're ready, begin to pull to the front. Then begin to pull towards the sky. Then create a little L pattern. From here, you're going to roll onto your back. You're going to center align. We're going to find our first shallow U-hold. Then draw the legs to 90, make your hold a little deeper. Maybe add a scissor leg. Find your way into your bridge plank, adding a clam at the top. Start to find your roll, maybe adding a little table. Leading your way after your last table into your supported boat line. And we're going to shoot for 10 stretches on one side. Then change sides. Find your way from here into, let's make a diamond seat on the mat. We're going to relax one palm to the floor alongside us, and we're going to find a drop pattern here. So you're going to make your elbow, your ear, your shoulder heavy, and you're going to come back. We're going to do that roughly 5 times. Maybe we want to add an arc and frame on the opposite side. Not worrying about how close that forearm or elbow is coming to the floor, but just making that elbow, that shoulder, that ear nice and heavy. And then let's repeat on the second side. Then sitting up nice and tall to extend the legs in a narrow staff. Weave your fingers together, interlace them and invert them. We're going to push over the toes and back to a tall seat. Trying to reach past our toes and almost frame our head between the 2 hands as we lean forward. We're going to end in that forward lead and you're going to hold it. sitting up nice and tall to hug your shins in towards your chest and just lengthen the line of your spine. This is where we're going to end our restitution for today, nodding chin to chest. Thank you so much for coming out and for playing with me today. Till next time, keep it light.